Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we're going to be looking at the pathway to the majority for the Democratic Party in the 2018 Senate election. So right now, we have a total of 35 contested races. California is already filled in because it has 2 Democratic candidates, so no possible party, considering they don't allow any writing candidates or any other type of candidates, considering the open primary already solidified the race down to 2 Democrats, Dianne Feinstein and Kevin De Leon, but that's not a race we're going to be talking about tonight. Right now, we have 42 Republicans and 24 Democrats. Looking at the map itself does not look good for the Democratic Party. 34 contested races, and the GOP only needs 8 of those 34 in order to hold on to the majority. Keep in mind when we're looking at the numbers themselves, 8 out of 34 is 23.5%, rounding up to 24%. So they only need to win about a fourth of the Senate elections up in order to hold on to the majority. Now, obviously, some of these states are obviously safe Democratic states, which is why they're all up right now. So they're not necessarily in the possibility of going to the GOP. But in terms of the Democratic Party performing phenomenally and holding on to all of their seats, or most of them, because we will see one going to the GOP tonight, and then going on to possibly taking the majority, it definitely will come down to a number of individual races. So let's go ahead and characterize all the safe Democratic states. States like Montana, not Montana. I don't know why I thought Maryland was Montana. I mean, I live here. Definitely not Montana. But Hawaii, Washington, New Mexico, Virginia. I'm going to run through these pretty fast. Michigan, Pennsylvania. Those are 2 Democratic states that are safe for the Democratic Party, along with Amy Klobuchar's state of Minnesota, New York, Vermont, Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, and then Connecticut, not New Jersey, not just yet. We'll get to that one in a moment to discuss it. But for right now, looking at the numbers, we have 39 Democrats and 42 Republicans. So the Republican Party about even with the Democrats at this point. So the Democrats definitely have shot up in terms of their numbers. A total of 16 races rated as safe for them at this point. Actually, we have another one. Ohio is another safe Democratic state. So that actually puts them at a total of 17. So in terms of the safe Democratic states, they have a total of 17. The Republicans have 42 safe because those are the ones not up for re-election. A total of 40 seats already rated as safe for the Democratic Party, considering 23 are not up for this election. But that leaves 18 individual races, and some of which are going to be safe for the GOP. Let's go ahead and characterize those now. Mississippi Senate special election, Nebraska, Wyoming, and Utah. Those are 5 states that are safe for the GOP. So keep in mind the largest majority of the Democrats technically could get realistically is 53 to 47. So that's obviously not likely looking at the map, considering we have a couple of other states that we need to color red. But when we're looking at the numbers, out of 13 contested races, we definitely are seeing a possibility for improvement for the Democrats based off these numbers. With 40 seats in the Democratic Party, where can they pick up and hold on to seats next? So, first of all, we're going to compare it to the map that we have now. We currently have 49 Democrats and 51 Republicans. Looking at the areas where the Democratic Party has incumbents: Montana, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Indiana, West Virginia, Missouri, Florida. These are all states that I listed because Donald Trump won these states back in 2016. If we were basing it off that alone, the GOP would already have a large majority. But unfortunately for them, we are not, because these candidates are pretty popular in some of these states, and some of them are likely to win their election bids. So we'll start off with the states that are a little bit more likely in going in favor for the Democratic Party. Right now, Minnesota Senate special election, that one's probably going to go towards the Democratic Party. We're really not going to see the GOP really be too contested there. Going over to New Jersey and West Virginia is actually more in favor of the Democratic Party than New Jersey, believe it or not. And West Virginia went to Trump by 30%. The fact that a Democrat is winning here is definitely phenomenal for the Democratic Party. But keep in mind, this is a different type of Democrat, and once he's out, and that's out for the Democratic Party, unless there's some massive de-alignment in terms of political parties, or, I guess, anything can really happen in this modern political age, but it's not really too likely at this point. We're looking at this. We have 43 Democrats. Okay, New Jersey, Bob Menendez is not too popular, but he's probably going to win his election bid at the end of 2018. We really can't discredit him at this point in time. But when we're looking at the numbers, that's probably an area the Democrats are going to have to hold on to if they were to take back the majority from the Republican Party. The last time the Democrats held the majority, I believe, was 2012. And then 2014 came around. The GOP was able to hold on to all of their states and pick up a number of states. If we're looking back at 2006, the Democrats did take back the Senate. That was the last time there's a Democratic wave year in a midterm election. But keep in mind, no Democratic incumbent lost, and we're probably going to see a Democratic incumbent lose in the Senate election. And that went for governor races and Senate races. I'm not so sure about House races, but if it was for House races, that would also be phenomenal for the Democratic Party as well. But we're probably not going to see a repeat of that. come 2018. But we have a total of 10 contested races we still need to get to. Let's go ahead and start off with the state of Wisconsin. This is a state, again, that probably is going to go to the Democratic Party regardless of how this election turns out. If we're looking at the numbers, just numbers alone, the Democrats probably would win in Wisconsin larger than any other state on this map. We're looking at the state of Wisconsin, which was won by Trump by 22,000 votes in 2016, but that doesn't mean this race is going to be contested. Sure, it's more contested than Minnesota, than Michigan, than Pennsylvania, than even Ohio. But again, having a win is a win, regardless of the numbers. They won't worry about numbers till 6 years from now. So it really doesn't matter if this was a 0.1% win compared to a 10% win. The number still adds to the Democratic Party. Maybe it won when you had to work across the aisle, and not winning by that margin was a slap in the face. But if we're looking at the numbers right now, again, a win is a win. A Democratic win is a Democratic win. A Republican win is a Republican win, regardless of the margin. I think the GOP could edge out a couple of these races that we're going to characterize as Democratic states for the sake of making a video where they can take back the majority, but anything can happen. We are 12 days away from the midterm elections, so a little bit can change, but it's probably not likely. Keep in mind, a lot changed drastically in the final 2 weeks of the election season back in 2016. That probably tilted it in the favor of Donald Trump, but looking at these very close races now, I'm necessarily not too comfortable characterizing them, but you pretty much have a general estimation of how these races are going to go. Maryland's not going to the GOP. Okay, Pennsylvania's not going to the GOP. Utah's not going to the Democrats. With 12 days away, not much can happen in some of these states, but some of these more closer races like Florida, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, any of these 10 states on your map right now definitely can change. But let's go ahead and characterize this another state that could go to the Democratic Party, Montana. That is a state they're probably going to hold on to if they were to take back the majority in the United States Senate. Looking at Montana itself, this is an area where John Tester is from. He won in 2006, won re-election in 2012, and then 2018. He's not necessarily too popular, but pretty good rating for a Democrat in a conservative state. Keep in mind, these voters are not necessarily too partisan. They elected a Democratic governor the same year that they elected Donald Trump to the White House, so it's not impossible for a Democrat to win here, as this is showing. The House race is actually pretty contested as well, with Greg Gianforte, so Montana looks a little different being blue on a map because I'm imagining the House map, but looking at the Senate map, John Tester has pretty much consistently led in every single poll taken, other than a generic Republican poll that was taken before, but right now John Tester is probably going to win this election. But not by a large margin, but still hold on to it. So the rest of these races are not as good looking for the Democratic Party. In fact, we're going to characterize one race in favor of the GOP, and that is the state of North Dakota. North Dakota is probably going to go to the GOP more than the state of Texas, or Tennessee, or Arizona, or Nevada. Even though the GOP has incumbents in all four of those states, they don't have one in North Dakota. But right now, this race has been rated likely by Real Clear Politics. We're looking at the numbers. Kevin Cramer leads by 16% in the most recent poll. A non-incumbent leading by 16% in a contested race in a contested time. That is crazy. Okay, before, if you don't believe that poll, she was down by 12%. Then before that, by 10%. And then before that, by 4%. So it's been a consistent lead for the GOP candidate. The last time she actually led was February of 2018. So, again, looking at this race itself, probably going to be pretty good in favor of the GOP. That puts them at 48. So we're looking at 7 contested races. We have another state to characterize in favor of the GOP. That is the state of Texas. Now, we're looking at Texas. That is an area where the Democratic Party thinks that they can get a pickup in. But for right now, that is the most conservative state out of the remaining 6 races. So this was going to be an only 51-49 majority, because when they're taking the majority, we're going to give them what they need, not what they want. Because if we're going to go with what they want, that becomes a little bit more out of the question in terms of a realistic way of getting to 51-49. Because if 52-48, they can afford to lose one. Opens up questions to which one could they lose, which one is the least and most contested. So I just cut that one off and gave Texas to the GOP. But with the remaining races, we can characterize this side of the country and then go over to the Sun Belt. So Missouri, Indiana, and Florida, these are 3 states that probably are going to go to the Democratic Party anyway. If we're looking at Missouri, that's probably the most contested races, followed by Florida, then followed by Indiana. Although Donald Lee is down by 4% in the most recent poll from Indiana. Poll was taken and it has that little R by the name, so I'm not necessarily too trusting of it. In Missouri, all the polls have an R by the name, or if they don't, it's a tie. So that race definitely possibly a little bit more in favor of the GOP. But I just want to see more data, possibly from NBC News, Fox News, CNN, just some more central, mainstream type polling I guess from the media or whichever polling firm that decides to do it. Florida has gotten a lot more in favor of Bill Nelson in recent days, so that one's going to go to the Democratic Party. Tennessee, Phil Bredesen can actually win here. I just don't think that he's going to. Marsha Blackburn at this point is starting to lead by pretty considerable amounts, but I think Texas is not going to be as close as Tennessee. Unfortunately for the Democratic Party, Texas is still Texas. Okay, Beto O'Rourke is not some statewide official who's already won a statewide election. Phil Bredesen is that candidate. He won every single county in his re-election bid. He left office with a 74% approval rating. He's known statewide. He's won 2 elections statewide, and now he's going on to a Senate election where there's an open seat. The last time this was an open seat was in 2006, a Democratic wave year, and Bob Corker, the incumbent now, won by 3%. Okay? 3% against a Democrat in Tennessee in 2006. So times were a little bit different, but we could possibly see a repeat where Phil Bredesen actually edges this one out in favor of the Democratic Party. And then Nevada and Arizona, those are the final 2 states that are actually pickups for the Democratic Party. Tennessee was a pickup, but I didn't really mention it, but I meant to. Nevada and Arizona, 2 Sunbelt states with pretty good Democratic candidates at both points, either candidate led in the opinion polls. But right now, Arizona more than Nevada, which is pretty surprising considering Clinton won Nevada in 2016 and Trump won Arizona in 2016. But right now that finalizes our map with 51 Democrats and 49 Republicans. So the map flips a little bit from 49 Democrats to 51 Democrats to 51 Republicans to 49 Republicans. But looking at the map, the GOP gains 1 in North Dakota. The Democrats gain 3 in Tennessee, Arizona, and Nevada. And this is the final composition of the United States Senate, giving the Democrats the most clear and concise pathway to the majority in the 2018 Senate elections. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.